Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be checking out Salt Meat Factory by developer Marcus Actro. This is a Unity game that is going to involve us packing meat into salt boxes for shipment, and that is our job. We are a factory worker. We will do honor to the factory that we work in by working at our very best, trying to accomplish as much as we possibly can in the time that we're allotted, and as far as I know, our time is endless. So let us join the workforce right here. So we're gonna start in the corner here. We basically spawned into a pile of meat, as you can see. I'm gonna assume we probably came shot out of this tube, very much like these steaks that happen to be lying all over the metal, kind of very dirty floor. We're not worried about food inspectors as it pertains to this job, it seems. We're just in it to win it, which the way to win it is by dragging these steaks over to these boxes that sit on this conveyor line. We're basically just going to drop them in one at a time, in with the salt there, where they will be freshly preserved, presumably not refrigerated, but, again, we're not worried about that kind of thing. There's no regulations, no regulatory actions to be made, and you got some silly physics on occasion. That's kind of part of the fun, I suppose. So there's a few other things other than just the steaks to take a look at. We've got our little corner area with this our radio that's playing some lovely music. We've got our name tag and our punch card here. Our name tag says that we're named Bob. I'm not sure we're not wearing it, but I guess right now nobody's really going to see us, so it really doesn't matter a whole lot. And we can actually punch our punch card over here if I can get it to sit in the machine properly, which may be a bit of a challenge, but I'll give it a shot. Oh, almost. Almost. Yeah, there it goes. I mean, I don't know that you can really get it all the way properly. Maybe actually, yep, totally could. Alright, cool. I'll just leave it there, because that just works just fine. And then we've got some darts also, which we can use on this dartboard over here. I'm not really sure how on earth you're supposed to throw the darts. That's not really a thing that this game supports. But if I can get a dart... Oh, come on, don't stab yourself in the eye. Turn or... The darts are not cooperating. If I can get a dart to face the dartboard and then jam it into the wall... No, that didn't quite work. It should actually, stick into there. I've had it happen in the past. I'm not sure we're going to get that to happen. Oh, there it goes. All right, there. We've proved it's possible. This is one of those, plastic mesh ones, as far as I can tell, not a cork one, so the odds of getting a dart to actually stick in it pretty low. My experience with these has always been you basically throw a ton of darts at it, and they just bounce immediately out. But that's okay. We're not here for the darts as much as we're here for the meat packing action. And I'm sure you're wondering what happens if we try to throw a dart into one of the meat boxes to send this off to our hungry clientele. Unfortunately, I don't believe that the darts will actually stay in the box yet. They don't seem to be governed by the same physics that all the other stuff seems to be governed by. So we'll just sit a dart up here, just in the off chance that maybe it'll get knocked into one of the boxes and then carried out. I don't think that can actually happen. That's okay again. So the main attraction here is mostly the physics on the meat and this kind of wavy property that it's got to it. I'm not really sure what this is, but a lot of Unity games seem to have this feeling to them where when you pick up an object, it sort of lags behind the cursor that you're dragging it by, almost to the extent where it seems like you're not even sure if you're dragging it anymore. And it seems like you can break the laws of physics by turning your viewpoint kind of quickly. It's not really a huge impediment in this case, but at the same time, if you're trying to be accurate in your meat placement, well, see, stuff like this is going to happen. You're going to end up having it flop all over the place and never end up in the appropriate box. And that is not right at all. By the way, I'm acutely aware of all the innuendo going on here. It is not of my doing, and you can choose to read it that way if you choose. No problem at all. Okay, so we're going to hit the button over here, push for meat. And, oh, there we go. So every time I push this, it's going to drop another steak in. I imagine you can see where this video is going to end already. This is kind of a long-standing tradition of mine. If there's a way we can spawn an object infinitely, we will do so at one point, and we will break the frame rate with it. I've already tested this off camera, and I was able to get quite a few steaks in there, but it really did trash the frame rate quite badly. Also, what's up with these light sources? It seems like they're kind of sporadic in their effectiveness. If you notice the center one, which is the one that actually seems to be lit up, I mean, I can kind of tell that there's just a light source hovering right below it here. It's lighting up the ceiling above it, which is where the shadow should be, and then the floor actually doesn't have a light. But on the other side, all of these ones are not illuminated, yet the floors have light sources on them, so I'm not really sure how that's going. And also, is it actually lighting up the conveyor belt? I guess it is. The actual the space here, the tractor belt, whatever you call it, the actual belt itself doesn't seem to be illuminated whatsoever, but that's okay. Also, there's a couple of stakes that are hidden over here in this corner to make life just a little bit easier for us if we want to get a combo action going. Oh, that stake got kind of stuck in the floor, but that's the way stakes are sometimes. There they go. They'll flop around together for a while. And it does apparently save your progress, I've noted, because it says that, or noticed, it says that I've got 38 stakes when I've only just begun. There we go. I guess the collision part is somewhere in the center of the stake itself. Also, there's a wonky old texture over here. This is usually a texture scaling issue when that happens. You may have also noticed over in this corner, we've got a really gross pile of maggots that are extremely fat and plump, and I guess they'll just go in with the stakes, because we got to get them out of here some way or another. And, you know, if we can get them in the boxes, at least we won't have to look at them anymore, right? And, again, doesn't seem like we've got any health guidelines to worry about, so I suppose it's going to be that way. So I guess we'll try and clear out all of the stake and maggots that happen to be taking up residence in this particular locale. And once they're all clear, then we can move on to making lots more stakes and see what happens with that. There we go, we got a double take there. Whoever orders that box is going to be real happy until they realize that the meat that they ordered is from the rotting worm corner. That is, like, so gross. The action of the way those things wiggle around is, like, I don't even really want to be over here, to be perfectly honest. These are, like, the size maggots that they always make the, or grubs, I guess they are. I don't know if maggots and grubs are the same thing. But these are, like, the ones that they make the survivors always eat. That's pretty gross. You know, it's also reminding me a little bit of, like, Viscera cleanup detail in that we've got, like, all this meat splattering all over everything, leaving blood trails. And then there could be, like, a secondary job where you come in as the janitor and clean up all the meat juices off the floor after the day's hard work. I think that could be kind of interesting. I've also noticed it appears that the clock does seem to be moving, albeit rather slowly, but, you know, that's kind of how clocks work. So I suppose, in essence, you may be able to actually come to some sort of conclusion that time is actually passing. And that sort of made me wonder, like, how weird would it be if someone decided to make a game where you get the impression at first that you're just playing, like, a silly, trivial, like, you know, kind of rudimentary physics game, and then after you've done it for a certain amount of time, and maybe an amount of time that's longer than most people would ever play the game for, then you discover that actually you get to punch out and go home, and that's where the actual game begins, because then you've got, like, finance management and, like, a Papers, Please style metagame that you can, you know, take care of your family and, you know, try and better your life by, you know, moving houses, making sure your kids are set up in the proper school district, you know, making sure they do their homework on time, making sure they clean their room and do their chores, and then sometimes you gotta, like, mow the lawn, and all kinds of various other activities like that. It could be like the Octodad of mundane, everyday suburban living, which is kind of the Octodad of that itself. Octodad is kind of the Octodad of that. Anyway, pile of meat is starting to dwindle as far as I can tell. It's a little bit disappointing that this pile of meat is completely fixed. Like, it's just that texture stacked over and over again with, like, some shading, and you can see a big old seam there. I mean, I understand that we're supposed to be drawing from, like, a mountainous pile of meat, but at the same time, it's like, it's too bad that this couldn't have been modeled out of individual textured meat chunks, or, you know, maybe some other format of dispersing them. Maybe they could come in on their own conveyor belt, and then we're just going to move them over. You know, we're kind of taking the place of, like, a robotic grabber arm in this case. And in case you don't end up seeing this in the video, which is quite likely, the cursor that we get to use is actually a meat hook, which is kind of funny, I suppose. And also, we can drag this radio when we get tired of the cheerful and quite nice music. We can drop it in one of the boxes if we can get it in there. And, oh, well, maybe we can't get it in there. Well, I've done it before. I can do it again. And eventually, it will get dragged out of existence, and the music, funny enough, will just stop. It's kind of a funny premise. I like the way that this was considered. There it goes, just gone. You know, much like all the meat that we've sent off to who knows where, that will also be gone forever. So we can summon a whole bunch of meat. You can see it stacks up and makes a lovely, juicy sound. And I think there's one more little surprise for us if I order enough meat from the meat chute up above. Eventually it'll show up, most likely. I don't want to spawn too much yet, or we're going to end up getting our frame rate destroyed. I should probably pack a little bit of it as we go, that way we keep the poly count low. Can you imagine if this was done in, like, the Crisis engine with supernaturalistic physics and deformation? Like, if you try to pack the meat too hard, it's just going to shatter this wooden box or something. Also, what's up with this, like, really terrifying typography on the side of the salt meat box? It's like, do you really want to receive a package from this company if that's what their typography stands for? It looks like you're ordering something from a haunted house in Halloween Town with Jack Skellington. Anyway, let's order a little bit more. Oh, there we go. We've reached 60. I wonder if there's like a reward for getting to 100 meats ordered. Now, if I push this fast enough, it certainly seems to stack up pretty well. Really, not a single one. Maybe it's just a random chance thing. Well, severed hands will occasionally show up in the midst of this. I was kind of expecting there to be one underneath the pile of meat, but it seems like we haven't been so lucky. Or maybe someone on the other side of the meat cutting receptacle actually has been very lucky, which is why we haven't had the misfortune of running into a severed hand. Not sure why I'm really celebrating seeing a severed hand. There's plenty of things you can see that in. Also, wow, did you see that? I just used the meat to sort of do some sort of a special move there. It was almost like a rocket meat jump. Yeah, I did it again. If you turn your viewpoint fast enough, you can actually kick your player model forward with the meat inertia, the meat momentum of your this steak, basically. So when it'll catch up to you real hard, and you won't be able to do a whole lot about it. Anyway, I think this is kind of as far as we can really go with the salt meat factory. It's an interesting premise. It would be kind of cool to see this go even further in one way or another. And I'm lamenting the fact that I can't just stack steaks in front of this conveyor belt and cause a massive pileup of boxes. Unfortunately, as you can see, the more meat you stack there, it just kind of sits on the conveyor belt, and I think the boxes will just go right through it. So I would say, if the developer ever reads or hears this, they should probably consider how silly would it be if you're just terrible at your job and you just, basically, get Vitamita Vegemins out of existence and then get fired because you just stacked too much meat and then the boxes can't get through. And there's no repercussions if you just don't do your job at all. You can really just hang out here, chill out, and play darts or, whatever you want to do. You just keep going on break. I've already destroyed the radio. That's a thing I can't get back necessarily. You toss this over into the meat pile and, Bob's your uncle, I suppose. So I think this is the point in the episode where we're just going to summon all the meat until the frame rate gets destroyed. And then we'll say goodbye for the day. So if you'd like to try out Salt Meat Factory, there's the hand. Oh my goodness, the fingers. You gotta see the fingers. I'm sorry. I know the frame rate's starting to get bad, but just drag it over here. You gotta see the fingers on this sucker. It is wild. Turn? Yeah, each finger has its own... Oh my goodness, it's created some sort of perpetual motion situation. It's pretty horrifying to run into something like this. I think this hand belongs over... I think it's flipping me off. I think this hand belongs over with the maggots. Let them do their worst. And it's just going to spin itself in place. Look at all the steak that we've wasted here on the floor. Get in there. Somebody's going to enjoy this fine steak dinner off the floor. The dirty metal grating floor with, looks to be some sort of mineral deposits all over it. I'm guessing sulfur or something. It looks like somebody just smeared mud and sulfur or something, or clay all over the ground. Anyway, like I was saying, if you'd like to go check out Salt Meat Factory, you can do so at the link in my description. You can go check basically anything to do with the game out and, have a good time. Pack some meat yourself. See how things are going. Maybe you can discover some other secrets that I never discovered. And, of course, let me know what you think in the comments, because I'd love to hear your opinions. I can't get the darts back out once they're back in there. Which is a little bit of a flaw with this whole dart mechanism, unfortunately. How am I supposed to play darts if they never come back out of the dartboard? You get 3 shots, and then it's over for you. Oh, wait a minute. I still have this one I forgot about. Anyway, I'm getting distracted again. This is what happens with games like this. It's just a big old fun house of silliness. Alright, now that one's locked in forever. This is some pretty bad dart playing, if you ask me. Maybe if you get a bullseye, something special will happen. But yeah, go check the game out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Check out my social media stuff in the links in the description as well. If you'd like to find out more about me personally, you can check out stuff on my YouTube page, my Twitter, my Facebook, or even my site, indie-impressions.com, where I post every day's new Indie Impressions videos. There's over 700 of them for you to browse, so if you're interested in any type of game in particular, they're all sorted and categorized. Pretty much something for everybody over there, so have a look, enjoy yourself, and of course, come back again tomorrow. New episodes go up every single day, so I hope to see you back for that. And if you enjoyed the episode, consider leaving some support in the form of a like, or even consider subscribing if you like what this channel offers. You know, aside from Indie Impressions, also Let's Plays and some other random stuff that shows up. I do weird stuff generally, but Let's Plays are also on the docket. So I will catch you next time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a lovely night. Talk to you later.